Hey everyone, if you're like me, you've probably heard every YouTuber and influencer out there shouting about the looming recession for the past 2 years. But is this just fear-mongering, or is there something real behind these warnings that even economists might be missing or hiding? Today, we're cutting through the noise to see if we really are on the brink of a recession. More importantly, how does this impact you in your daily life? What does a recession mean for your job security, your grocery bills, and your overall financial health? How can you prepare and protect yourself in these uncertain times? Stick around as we dive into the facts, dispel some myths, and give you practical tips on navigating whatever the economy throws our way. Starbucks admits it's struggling and losing customers in 2024. Despite being one of the world's most profitable chain restaurants, the coffee giant is facing its fair share of financial struggles in 2024 drop. This includes a 4% drop in global same-store sales and a 6% decline in global transactions. In North America specifically, same-store sales and transactions declined by 3% and 7% respectively. Now, this is Starbucks' first negative financial performance since 2020, and it's caused the stock to fall 12%. CEO Laxman Narasimhan said during an earnings call that budget-conscious consumers have been more careful about their spending, which has taken a toll on guest traffic. Now, what if this has nothing to do with the economy? Maybe Starbucks has lost its hipness with the TikTok influencers, and people are no longer willing to fight to the death over $70 limited edition tumblers. According to a recent article from MarketWatch, consumers are cutting back on spending money eating out. Their example character Matthew used to spend $150 to $200 a week eating out. But when his paycheck shrunk this year, he started cutting back. His family is now eating a lot more leftovers. Rising costs are forcing consumers to tighten their belts, especially when it comes to dining out. Only the wealthiest households, those earning more than $200,000 a year, went to restaurants more in 2023 than 2019. A pullback among budget-strapped consumers spelled bad news for these companies, for the investors, and eventually the broader economy. Yet from a personal finance perspective, it indicates reassuring behavioral changes by consumers under pressure, financial advisors told MarketWatch. With numerous reports and studies over the past few years showing that over half of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. This is welcoming news, says Andrew Herzog, a certified financial planner and associate wealth manager at the Watchman Group in Plano, Texas. Prices for gasoline, groceries, insurance, healthcare, and daycare have all increased, he noted, so it makes sense that eating out should get cut first, and I applaud that. When our clients are being careful with their budgets, we're really happy, but that doesn't necessarily translate well for places that used to shop, said Michelle Crum, owner and lead financial planner at Bell Eve Financial. Now, consumers shifting away from restaurants isn't necessarily a sign that people are reallocating those dollars towards growing their wealth. The share of income Americans spending on food, 11.3%, is at a 30-year high, and delinquencies on loans have been rising. As inflation eats away at people's incomes, staying in to eat may be a better option for those on a budget. At least for now, said Jake Smale, a financial planner. In a recent Conference Board survey, food away from home was by far the top expense people plan to cut back on or eliminate, according to 45% of respondents, followed by clothing, entertainment away from home, and vacations. Those changes are already impacting restaurant sales, spending data gathered from MarketWatch by Revolt. These changes have already impacted pending sales. The total number of transactions at U.S. restaurants was down 14% in February compared to a year earlier, with the overall amount spent at restaurants was down almost 11%. McDonald's executives said that economic pressures are spurring some consumers to pinch their pennies and leading to lower than expected sales growth. Chief Executive Chris Kay said that all major markets, including the U.S., traffic is slowing, and consumers across the board, not just lower-income diners, are all looking for better value. Starbucks reported a 7% slowdown in transactions at its U.S. stores. Olive Garden parent Darden Restaurants told investors on a recent earnings call that it was seeing far fewer visits from diners within an annual household income below $75,000. It is something that not everyone is feeling, but some of the biggest players are, said Brian Harbour, a restaurant industry analyst. Only the wealthiest households, those earning more than $200,000 a year, went to restaurants more often in 2023 than in 2019, according to data from market research. What happens if consumers keep spending less? While reducing fast food spending might be good for individual pocketbooks, it's bad news for the overall economy. Is all of this anecdotal? How do we even know people are cutting back on fast food spending due to the economy? Maybe this is just a new wave of financial literacy. If consumers continue cutting back to this degree, it's going to have ripple effects on the broader economy. Walgreens said on Thursday that it plans to close a significant number of its roughly 8,600 stores in the U.S. Around 25% of Walgreens stores aren't profitable, and the chain will look to close down stores that are right by another struggling to hold down theft. Walgreens and other retailers have been hit by shoplifting and resorted to locking up items and closing high-theft stores since the pandemic. But Walgreens' problems are much deeper, including competition and failed growth strategies. The latest closures are part of a larger downturn, not just for Walgreens, but other drugstore chains too, after years of expansion. Walgreens said in 2019 it would close down 200 stores, and last year announced an additional 150 stores. CVS, the largest U.S. chain, closed 244 stores between 2018 and 2020. In 2021, it announced plans to close an additional 900 stores. And Rite Aid filed for bankruptcy last year and will close up to 500 stores. Lack of consumer demand isn't the only factor putting pressure on retailers. Soft on crime policies and rising inflation make poorer Americans more desperate and has made many retail locations completely unprofitable due to sharp uplifts in shoplifting. Drugstores aren't the only ones closing down due to crime. Target announced it's also closing down stores due to theft and organized retail crime. Retail crime accounted for $112 billion in 2022, according to a National Retail Federation report. Dick's Sporting Goods CEO Lauren Hobart said in an August statement that theft is an increasingly serious impact on many retailers, and that it was a large factor in why the companies fell short in 2023. CVS beats estimates but cuts full-year profit outlook on higher medical costs. CVS healthcare shares gained ground on Wednesday after a company reported better than expected earnings but lowered its 2024 guidance due to increased insurance payouts. Health insurance groups are suffering from a rise in payouts to policyholders as Americans are utilizing medical facilities after the pandemic restrictions were lifted. CVS said its medical benefit ratios rose by 2.7 percentage points from a year ago to 88.5% in the fourth quarter. CVS said the rise in medical costs was expected to continue. Now, are businesses just being dramatic? Businesses have been known to make 101 excuses for poor results. Are Target, Starbucks, and the drugstores just losing their competitive edge? Are the crime claims just an excuse? What do the consumers think? To answer this question, we can look at the University of Michigan surveys of consumers. Despite some positive economic indicators, like falling inflation and unstable wages, consumer sentiment is surprisingly low. A major reason for this is the lingering impact of high prices. Even though inflation has cooled, prices remain higher than they were a few years ago, and many consumers haven't adjusted to this new reality. Consumers also don't understand that just because inflation is going down doesn't mean prices will actually lower. That would be deflation, which comes with its own set of consequences and issues. Negative economic news, often amplified on social media, also plays a role in dampening consumer confidence. People are continuously exposed to pessimistic views, which can overshadow the actual improvements in the economy. Why is consumer sentiment so important anyway? Well, household consumption makes up over 2/3 of the US GDP. When consumers are feeling down about their financial prospects, it can signal a potential recession, making it a crucial metric for economists to watch. Historically, dips in consumer sentiment have often preceded economic downturns. The University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index, a key measurement of consumer outlook, has shown significant declines around major economic recessions. For example, the index, which peaked at 112 in January 2000, hit a low of 50 in June 2022, reflecting the severity of economic pessimism during challenging times. So what does that mean moving forward? While some consumers, especially those in higher income brackets or younger working age groups, report healthier finances, others continue to struggle. This polarization in financial health contributes to the overall cautious outlook on spending and economic recovery. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and leave a comment down below for the YouTube algorithm.